Speaker. On the 3rd of May 2016, I had an adjournment debate calling for a cap on letting agents' fees because this was becoming such a big issue in my constituency. So I welcome the bill before us today, which goes even further, because I think this is an issue that does affect particularly London and the South East. Because in my constituency, rent is close to £2,000 a month for an average property. And my citizens' advice in Lewis, who I've worked very closely with, have done a lot of work on this issue and highlighted that letting agents' fees in one town, and I've got 4 in my constituency, can range from anything from £175 to £922, plus with an 8-week deposit, which is standard in Lewis, that can leave tenants paying anything from £3,032 to £3,779. And it's just not affordable for the person on the average wage. So I was pleased to see in Schedule 1 of the bill that 8 weeks deposit is now going to be limited to 6 weeks. But I do have 2 key concerns. Firstly, in Schedule 1, around the variety of fees that are being listed in this bill, because while it does cover holding payments and deposits, there are a number of fees introduced by letting agents which will get round the legislation before us. The citizens' advice in Lewis found that adding a second tenant to a property can be charged around £450, a reference check £100, general admin £100, an express move to move within 10 days can be around £200, to add a pet to a property another £200. If a tenant moves out and someone takes over the lease, on average £300. And one in particular, which has been mentioned already by some members, is the 6-month tenancy. Very often tenants want a longer lease, and legally they are entitled to, but they are not allowed to contact the landlord to negotiate this, because it's in the letting agent's interest to keep tenants on a rotating 6-month tenancy, paying around £150 to £350 every time they renew that lease. My other concern is around the enforcement of this bill and around Schedule 3, because already it's legal that letting agents have to advertise their fees, and we know that that just doesn't happen and it's not enforced. Citizen Advice looked at Lewis Town in my constituency and Seaford Town, where 25 letting agents were looked at. Only one of those letting agents currently advertises their fee. So we have legislation in place and it's not being enforced. And in Schedule 3 of the bill, I'm not quite clear who is going to be responsible for the enforcement and what happens if they don't enforce this legislation. So I welcome this bill, but I do have those 2 concerns around the variety of fees not covered in the bill and ensuring the enforcement happens to make this bill works properly for tenants.
Matt Rodder.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak